And you're live with the guy. Nat, again, is sick. She'll be off camera reading the stories, giving us some input. Let's get into it, Nat.
Hi, I'm Nat.
And this is Alberta Independence.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe. It is the best way to support us, even when I'm off camera. We try to read all, if not most, of your comments live. So please join in on the conversation. We do prioritize super chats. We pause the whole show for those, and those help us out as well a lot. And we have memberships.
And God, it sounds like you're hitting puberty. Your voice is getting deeper as you're getting sicker here.
Thanks. Well, let's start saying hi to Anya Zinski. That says, hi, Nat and Guy, watching from Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Thank you.
And Todd says, let's go Raymond, because someone's here from Raymond, Alberta. Hello, Print of Alberta. And Todd says, where is Raymond in this big, beautiful country of ours? Never been, LOL.
Well, Alberta is a big country, and that's the thing.
And Canuck says, watching from French River, Ontario. Hello, hope you're all well.
And I will say there is some major breaking news, so why don't we get into that right away? People are going to be excited about this if you haven't heard yet.
And just quickly, Silverfeet says, hi all. Hello, Silverfeet.
Oh, good to see you,
Thank you for being
Silverfeet.
here. And yes, let's get, as you said, into the breaking news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
And as you mentioned, let's start with... Oh.
Well, I will say we had some technical issues with
Yes.
the countdown clock today. So if you didn't see it, it was because we couldn't get it to work on the computer. But we'll have it up and running tomorrow, hopefully.
Yes, we're always very professional over here at Nat and the Guy. But let's start with this from Alberta Proud Dad. Says, breaking, Elections Alberta has officially determined that the petition seeking a potential referendum on Alberta independence was successful. Here are the numbers. 286,593 signatures submitted, 279,337 signatures counted as valid, 222,597 verified through statistical sampling, and only 177,732 verified signatures were required.
Yeah, and this was absolutely fantastic news. We've been talking all week, and I think part of last week as well. Keith Wilson was really putting out the message to pick up your phones. Alberta elections are going to be calling to confirm all the signatures, and it looks like we made it past that hump. So now we have this as an option. I still think the best option going forward would be for the premier to call the binding referendum. So, but it's nice to have as many bullets in the gun as we can have, or in the firearm, I should say, because YouTube might censor us there.
And it continues. Elections Alberta also reported 292 duplicate signatures and rejected others because of incomplete addresses or missing elector and witness declarations. And what about those accusations of fake or seeded names? Elections Alberta says it found 0 seeded names during its screening process. Once again, the accusations generated plenty of outrage, but the evidence did not back them up. You don't have to support Alberta independence, but you cannot deny that hundreds of thousands of Albertans followed the democratic process and made their voices impossible to ignore. The petition succeeded. The numbers are verified. Now the conversation moves forward.
Yeah, we had a very high success rate on the verifications on the signature. So that was really good. That messaging that Keith Wilson put out, we put out, and I think most Alberta independence content creators really put out, really helped, because it seemed like most people picked up their phones and were able to confirm that they did sign, and they signed very, I would say, enthusiastically.
Exactly. But now, do you want me to keep reading comments, or because that was the only breaking news?
Yeah, if there are any more comments, we'll quickly go into comments, and then we're going to go into Alberta Stay Free.
Okay.
I will say that was great news today. I was really, just before, I said, I'll check the news headlines one more time before we kind of go on, and that popped up, so.
And Print of Alberta says, south of Lethbridge, 1 hour to the U.S. border. That is where Raymond, Alberta is.
Oh, fantastic.
And Todd says, you guys are unalive in it. You guys are unalive in it. What are we unalive in? Oh, I get it. We're killing. Okay.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Now I get it.
Rage Against
Before the YouTube censors.
Machine says, that's an army. Let's effing go, Alberta.
Yeah, let's effing go, Alberta. And we want to stand with our American brothers. We want to be our own country. We want to be independent because we have an economy and a culture that needs to stand on its own. We do not want to go the direction of Canada. And we definitely don't want to be the 51st state, not because we don't like the United States, but because every 4 or 8 years, it seems like if there's a party shift, they're trying to undermine what the country did the 4 years before. Alberta has a 93-year voting record of conservatism. That is a solid foundation. I will say, starting next week on Wednesdays and only Wednesdays, we will be talking about a little bit of American politics, hopefully to get J.D. Vance over the finish line in 2028. But for these midterms, hopefully we can at least win the House down in the States, if not the House and the Senate. We're going to need somebody in there that's going to recognize Alberta as an independent country if Danielle Smith and Mark Carney are able to lengthen out this timeline longer than is really acceptable. I don't want to see this thing going longer than 6 to 12 months after the non-binding referendum on October 19th.
And I concur with Lyle Norman here that says the numbers are way more, of course.
Oh, of course. And like we had everything working against us, yet we were still able to gather that many signatures. I mean, this is going to cause the government maybe and the people to underestimate us a little bit. And that's a good thing overall.
And on that note, let's actually go to Alberta Stay Free. Which unfortunately also doesn't work for some reason. But let's start with this from Yukon Strong, quickly moving along, that says, quote, the fastest way to Alberta independence is for 1, Mark Carney to keep pumping globalist BS, and 2, quote unquote, conservatives to keep the whole woke betrayals. Keep going forever, Canada, Republicans, thank you.
Oh, this was the wrong post, but it's the right clip. So
Okay.
That's all right. I think this is going to be Jason Kenney and some other conservatives, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Jason Kenney?
No. I don't know who it is.
Maybe he had a lot more weight on him, but maybe it's Jason Kenney's fat doppelganger there. Okay, let's keep going into the next article
quick
here.
break because Anya Zinski, thank you so much for the $5 super
thank
chat
you.
saying, way to go, Alberta. We are now on the next step.
Yeah, and we're really grateful. We have really motivated supporters within Alberta independence coming out to sign those signatures. But more than that, when everybody asked for donations with the telethon, we really came through big time. And even before that telethon, we were out raising the Federalist side, at least what's on the books. The big problem with the Federalist side is Thomas Lukaszuk is unwilling to show his work there. He's standing with the other national politicians across Canada against Alberta independence, whether that's conservative, whether that's liberal. It seems like they're all standing in one big powwow, putting their elbows up, saying Canada first, Alberta last.
Mm-hmm. But thank you so much, Anya Zinski. And now we move on to Jay Gen Xer, who asks, do you agree with her?
Let me get my headphone on.
PSA for Canadians.
Just a little PSA, we need to stop saying that the government is mishandling situations like forest management, the economy, housing prices. This is a coordinated, planned, intentional attack on Canadians. And so I know a lot of you already think this way, but for everyone else thinking that the government is making mistakes, this is the plan. They want this country to fail because if we're all dependent and poor and in 15-minute cities, we are that much easier to control. So I don't know what the solution is other than becoming completely free to make choices and decisions that can protect your family. Maybe that is leaving this country, or maybe it's building a self-sustaining community so it doesn't matter what they have going on. You and the people that you care about are going to be okay. But stop saying this is being mishandled in any form. This is the plan. It's intentional, and it doesn't matter who's in power. It's going to happen. Mark Carney's not in charge. He's a freaking puppet. So they want you to think that we have democracy and choice here. We don't. Someone's in control. I don't know who that is.
And that I agree with that sentiment 100% completely. I think a lot of people across Canada do. And she's saying, well, I don't know what to do. Can we build self-sustaining communities? Absolutely not. Not in Canada. Canada is not going to allow that. They are going to regulate that out of existence. They want to get rid of homeschooling. The EU is already getting rid of homeschooling. There's two solutions here. And national Canadians have two solutions as as well. You can move to Alberta and vote for Alberta independence, or you can leave the country. Otherwise, Canada is headed down a very dark path. If you're in Alberta, I urge you to stay in Alberta and vote for independence. You have a real option. There is a critical mass of individuals that exist within Alberta that we can really make a change and take the country with us instead of being pushed out of the country. Every year within Canada, there are hundreds of thousands of Canadians that are pushed out. A large majority of that are Conservatives, and they're replacing those individuals with mass immigration and people with refugee status. And this is completely changing the voter bloc within Canada, and it is liberalizing Canada more and more and more. A lot of people are wondering why Carney's poll numbers aren't falling faster. It's because Conservatives have seen the light, and the light is no longer in Canada. There is a light in Alberta, and Alberta has a real hope on October 19th to not only send Ottawa a message, but continue on to the next stage, which would be a binding referendum.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to finish watching that or move to the next one?
We can go to the next one there.
Okay. Ollie London says, quote, Liberal woman says she is, quote, tired of being a nice Canadian to American bigots and climate change deniers, saying I'm certainly not going to be nice to MAGA morons.
Yeah, and this is the elbows up crowd, and I'm seeing more and more conservatives starting to get their elbows up. Now, the conservatives that are getting their elbows up are kind of parroting a lot of Mark Carney's talking points. The Liberals are just full on Karen mode here. This is absolutely ridiculous. No matter how hard they flap their arms, Canada isn't going to fly. It's already gone off the cliff. It's just a matter of how hard are they going to hit the ground economically, culturally, and otherwise.
I'm tired of being a nice Canadian. I'm not going to be nice to bigots anymore. I'm not going to be nice to climate change deniers. I'm not going to be nice to billionaire bootlickers. And I'm certainly not going to be nice to MAGA morons. I'm trying to change the world with my book, They Could Be Saviors, and I'm certainly not going to do that by being nice to fucking idiots. Elbows up, hosers.
And this is why Canada is in the situation they are. There are millions of people across Canada that are just eating this slop up, and it's a damn shame I'm starting to see Conservatives eat the slop as well. They're in stage one of elbows up, where they're just getting their elbows up saying we need to protect the monopolies in Canada. The U.S. is not our friend. Yes, the U.S. is your friend. Your other option is China, and that's what Mark Carney's trying to drive you towards. China is not your friend.
Mm-hmm. And the whole myth of all Canadians are nice is also just that, a myth.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
properly constructed by propaganda coming from the federal government.
They're nice to you as long as you don't say anything that upsets them. And now under the new regulations within Canada, if they don't like something you said, they will arrest you. Hate speech is a thing. It is growing. Canada is quickly becoming the UK and the EU. The UK had over 12,000 arrests for hate speech and online speech last year.
Mm-hmm. But lastly, and I'm along that same vein, Alberta Proud Dad says, quote, fascist flapjack girl holds a vandalized Alberta independence sign. These people aren't very smart. As per Elections Alberta, vandalizing or stealing an Alberta independence sign could result in criminal charges, a fine up to $5,000, possible jail time, and an order to repay the damage.
Yeah, it would be fantastic if this was a stolen sign and we could actually prosecute her. But these signs are being sold in some stores. The one store that was vandalized again by somebody from the other side. There is plausible deniability here that she didn't vandalize the sign, but she bought the sign and then wrote on it. So I couldn't remember if I showed this yesterday, but I just wanted to show it again because this is the ridiculousness of the other side. They have lost the argument that they have no argument. So they're resorting to stuff like this, vandalizing businesses, assaulting people for Alberta independence, tearing down flags. I mean, we're seeing it on a daily basis. And it's a shame when that store got vandalized and the windows got broken out of it, somebody that owned that store and was an independent supporter. When the police showed up, they said, well, it's happening on both sides. No, it's not happening on both sides. It's happening on one side, and it's happening on one side consistently. Okay.
I was going to say, it looks like she tried to spray paint it once in white, and then it didn't look good, so she spray painted it again in black.
Again, that's those Forever Canada people just not knowing how to do shit.
Stuff. But now let's go back to your comments and then into Alberta the politics. My voice is going.
Nat's a little sick again today. She will be back on camera tomorrow. So
well, that's what we said yesterday. So we'll see.
That's what we're hoping.
Rage Against the Machine says, "I will fight for us for sure, and us all the way over here, and wherever we are, we'll continue to fight." Todd said, in the metaphorical sense of fighting for freedom.
You're too Canadian, Nat. You're too Canadian.
Todd says, me too, buddy. If we get independence, I'm joining the AAF, Alberta Armed Forces. Rage Against Machine says, all evil needs is for good men to do nothing. Together we could be the change.
Exactly.
Yes. Rage always with the very inspirational quotes.
And let's not get caught up in this elbows up campaign. We are fighting for independence. We want tariff-free trade with the United States. We want friendship with the United States. We want a good trading relationship with the United States. We don't want what the rest of Canada has. And let's just remember that when these midterms come up, when the 2028 elections come up, we want somebody in there that aligns with the Alberta independence values of faith, family, and freedom. And I believe J.D. Vance is the best candidate, not only for that, but to also recognize Alberta to become an independent country.
Now Norman says, looks like a dumb behind, I'm going to have to say, or dum-dum. So, yep, that's Kenny. Todd says, I have 6 more 4x8s to get in the air along highways. LOL, going to be a busy weekend. Well, at least you have stuff to do during the weekend, and it's to help Alberta's independence.
Absolutely. And we did order another flag. We have this flag, but I keep having to move it sets back and forth each time. So we've been on this set the last couple of days. It was easy. Getting it on the other set is a little bit harder, though. So
Todd says, we're growing, starting to normalize the conversation. Let's go hammer down, folks. And continuing to have that conversation. This is my main point, always just keep talking about it, keep having the polite conversations, the debates, the interactions with other people that might not fully know or be aware even of what's going on.
Absolutely. And it's a shame that we haven't done more reaching out to the United States, because when something like what is happening with Elections Alberta right now, and they're just completely ignoring the corruption with Forever Canada and possibly taking federal donations or donations coming in from outside the country, which would be foreign interference. Nothing's being done about it. And who are we going to complain to? We keep calling Elections Alberta, and I urge everybody to keep doing that. But the federal government doesn't care. It seems like the Albertan government doesn't care. Elections Alberta doesn't care. If we had built bridges with international press, maybe we could have been going to them right now, and we should continue to keep trying to build those bridges. So when incidents like this do come up, we have some kind of recourse action we can take.
Todd says, don't be nice to me. I didn't plan on being nice to you. Says, make Alberta great again. Yes. And hold on, where are we? Todd says, if you're a politician, you shouldn't be allowed to keep a security detail to keep you honest.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Todd also says, in the new Republic of Alberta, politicians won't need security detail. We will be regular Joes.
And that's the thing. You shouldn't need a security detail if you're doing the will of the people, and the politicians are elected to do the will of the people within their districts, and so on and so forth as you go up. But politicians now, and it seems like in most Western countries, have completely disconnected from civil engagement and doing what the people want. They don't let the people vote on the major issues or have a say on the major issues. Everybody knows how people feel about mass immigration, and they don't want it. Not in Canada, not within the UK, not within the EU, but this is rarely, actually it's never been put to a vote. And that is a big problem, because politicians just keep pushing more taxes and more things that are absolutely collapsing the foundation of the West. It took Christianity to build the West. I believe it's going to take it to save the West.
Mm-hmm. And hold on. Todd says, be thousands of us leading all together. Who they gonna hit? Exactly. And let me just read a few more, and then we'll head into Alberta politics. Philip Vespa, hello, says, my parents just got back from a vacation in Prince Edward Island. Apparently they were the richest colony before joining Canada. I feel this country is just the 21st century Soviet Union destined to break apart.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say there is some kind of good news coming out of the UK a little bit. I've been talking a lot of crap about the new guy that was kind of elected. A lot of the decisions he's making, a lot of people within circles within the United States think he might actually behind the scenes be aligned with the United States. So maybe there is some hope, and he is a plant, and maybe we can start to steer the ship in a different direction. And the sentiment is that Trump is now going after the UK and the outer kind of sphere of influence. And then as hopefully he can change that, he's going to start going after Canada and other things and making the changes and starting focusing in on that, especially after the midterms.
And lastly, Beulah Hillier, thank you so much for being here. Says, hi, everyone watching from Innisfail, Alberta. And hello
fantastic.
all the way back to Innisfail, Alberta as well. But now let's get into Alberta politics, and then we'll continue reading your messages. Which also doesn't work, so apologies for that.
So I think
it'll just be dark black screens for the chapter markers this time.
Well, I think you deleted all the videos
I did not delete
on your hard drive.
I
She's
did not.
denying deleting them. She deleted them. Now they're on the cloud. Now they
You
won't
don't even
load.
know how it works. Okay.
is-
I'm the technical person. He just sits there and looks pretty.
That is true. You are the brains, but
Not much up there anyways.
and if there was a camera on her when I told her she was the brains, a huge smile.
Berta Proud Dad says, quote, sometimes I think Danielle Smith is one of the only adults in the room when these talks happen. Doug Ford has done more damage than good for Canada.
Yeah, and I don't know about that, and she's going to do whatever it is. I think to get into Ottawa, she has her eyes on Ottawa. I did like this response, but it's like, how hard is this response going to actually be? Is she really willing to stand that ground? And even if she is, are there not mechanisms the federal government can get around these? If they call the Emergencies Act, say if Donald Trump cancels the USMCA, Carney, in response, could call the Emergencies Act, and I'm wondering what kind of broad powers that would actually give him over Alberta Energy.
So just to be clear on this, both the premiers of Ontario and New Brunswick, they have left the door open to using their energy exports as leverage. Is there any scenario in which you would be prepared to restrict Alberta's energy exports to strengthen Canada's hand in those talks?
Nope, that's just not on. It doesn't make sense to do that. We saw what happened the last time electricity was threatened.
I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face.
Yeah, the Americans responded by doubling the tariffs, and by the afternoon, everybody had backed down. You just don't play around with things as crucial to the economy as energy, in my opinion. And I don't think that we should threaten things that we're not prepared to do. So I should be pretty clear about that. It's not what we're interested in Alberta. We're actually interested in strengthening our trading partnership with the United States, selling more energy in all directions, and that's what we've been working towards for the last number of years.
Okay, you can leave it there. And there's another problem with this. All the current pipelines that go from Alberta down to the United States go through other provinces. So they could potentially use those other provinces as leverage to turn off the oil, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Alberta has really been immune to this trade war with the rest of Canada because they have built a different relationship with the United States. And I believe they need to continue on that same path they're on. Mexico has chose that same strategy. A lot of other countries have as well, and it is working. This elbows up strategy is not working for the rest of Canada. Let's not go down that path. But it seems to me like when they had that premiers meeting, what they were trying to do most likely behind the scenes was to get every premier to put something up, to put some kind of leverage if they need to after these 30 days when these new tariffs actually kick in. So I'm wondering if Danielle Smith actually put something up other than energy possibly.
But now let's continue to see Danielle Smith. Roddy says, quote, Polyev is done. Put a fork in him.
There was some public talk by some premiers that they wanted to see a strategy or a plan from the Prime Minister today on how they plan to approach it. I know it's not smart to lay out the details of your strategy in public, and the Prime Minister certainly did not do that in anything he said in his press conference. But
turn it up, please.
It's pretty loud.
Okay.
Were you given a sense that there is a clear strategy here, and what is your comfort level with what they told you on that?
Well, I think he's been quite clear about his strategy. The Americans have perceived us as being weak. I mean, you hear it. They think that our economy will collapse if we don't come to an agreement. And I think what the Prime Minister has spent the last year and a bit doing is setting up new trade negotiations, new trade partnerships. He's got 20 additional trade relationships that represent a market of 3 billion people. And every time I meet with a new ambassador, they know who Canada is. They know what we have to offer. And they know, especially whether it's energy or critical minerals or a food product.
Are going to put something up so after these 30 days they can have some kind of leverage on the United States. But even if they maximize their leverage, they only have this much leverage. The United States has this much. You really want to go poking the elephant, they're going to sit on you. Something else I was going to say there is I think Mark Carney's ultimate strategy here is either they want to weaponize Canada to really make some kind of economic dent right before the midterms or right before the 2028 election, or he's betting the bank that J.D. Vance won't win in 2028, and that will lead to the old trade deal that they had. And I think that's what he's kind of banking on. I really hope if J.D. Vance not only gets in there, he actually negotiates harder than even Donald Trump and really makes them pay for what they're doing right now, because we need to get on with the golden age of the Western Hemisphere. Claudia Sheinbaum here in Mexico is a far left ideologue just as much as Mark Carney, but she is in line economically, militarily, and otherwise. I mean, you are really seeing the Mexican economy trending in the right direction along with Central and South America.
And apologies for that again. The thing finally downloaded and it started playing automatically. But most of what you said was on camera. Okay, next. Hopefully this continues to work. Nicole Hagan says, quote, remember the Sikh influencer that just went viral for getting kicked out of Good Life? And we've been talking about it over and over again.
And I think a lot of people have been talking about the Sikh influencer, and all of his old clips are kind of coming back to bite him a little bit. But it was nice to see Nico's take here.
Yes, let's listen to what his guest had to say. Let's just listen to
And again, Nico Lagan has a show he does every couple weeks with Jason Levine from Alberta. It's absolutely fantastic. It's called East Meets West, and it's about Alberta, Quebec independence, as well as a lot of other issues focused in on Canada.
So the truth is out. Remember the Sikh influencer that went viral for getting kicked out of Good Life? Well, listen to what his guest said on his live.
It is a ceremonial, Shasta. We are not supposed to go and chop someone up with it. But you know what it is? If we take that off and we put it to the side like these fuckers want us to, you know what that's telling us? Your religion is now changed at the core. Fundamentally, you now are not a Sipahi. They're taking the Sipahi off. It's like the Fifth Amendment, you know, in America. You know, the right to bear arms.
Did you hear what he just said? Not only does he refer to us as these fuckers, but he compares his right to wear the kirpan to the Fifth Amendment in the US. Obviously, he was referring to the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, but he just admitted out loud what we all knew. Their kirpans are weapons. Clearly, these individuals have no respect for us or our values. So remind me again why we keep letting them in Canada?
Exactly. And I'm all for people being able to actually carry weapons in a high trust society, but we have to build that high trust society. And we are allowing massive amounts of refugees, over 2 million a year. And we're putting them into specialty groups and classes where they can carry weapons, but your normal population isn't allowed to carry weapons. I think Bruce Party has done a very good job about talking to people in Alberta, especially within Alberta independence, to understand when we actually have the founding of the new nation of Alberta, there should be no specialty groups and classes.
Speaking of specialty groups and classes, Mari Zelaya has an opinion for foreign students that says, if you're a foreign student and graduated, congratulations, you got a great education, but you told us you were here to study, never to stay forever.
Yeah, and I actually really like this take from Mario here.
This message goes for every international student that's in this country. I'm sorry, but we don't owe you anything. You got the education you paid for. It's time for you to leave. You're not here to be a Canadian citizen because you got to study here. That is not a right that you have because we issued you a student visa. It's time for you to go home. And don't get me wrong, I want you to succeed and I want you to do well. And if you fell in love with Canada, like everyone else has in the country, we applaud you. And we know we have a great country. But as it stands right now, our economy and our youth unemployment cannot sustain you being in the country. Neither can our food banks. And the reality is, you came here on the premise that you are here to study, not to be here under the guise that you would one day become a Canadian citizen. You're more than welcome to apply to become a Canadian citizen further down the road. And you can do it from your home country. But you protesting and thinking that we owe you anything is a complete farce. We owe you absolutely nothing. You got exactly what you told us you came for this country for, a Canadian education. Among the best in the world, you got it, and it's time for you to go home. I'm sorry, my friends. Bye-bye.
I don't know if it's the best country or among the best in the world, as he says there, but I mean, I understand the sentiment.
Yeah, I definitely understand the sentiment. I do like when conservatives are going to take a harder stance, but they need to start taking harder stances, really mobilizing their base in the rest of Canada. Now, I'm all for Alberta independence, but I still want the best for Canada once Alberta does get its independence, and I think that is in the hands of conservatives.
And I do agree. I mean,
and mass immigration is one of these issues we have to address. They are changing voter blocks with this. This is starting to become an issue conservatives are absolutely scared to touch, at least conservatives in political power, because they want to appeal to that voting base.
But again, thanks to people like Clyde Clyde Do Something, for example, we know that a lot of these students and student groups do come, and it is all a very orchestrated machine to essentially take advantage and use it as an immigration process. And they did try to stop it, and then they kind of forgot that anything was going on, and now it's going on again.
Well, and we also seen the recent clip, and I think I'll show it tomorrow, but it was individuals from India saying, well, Canada needs what we have. You need 60 more million people. Let's make that 60 million Indians. That's absolutely ridiculous.
But now let's go back to your comments, and then we'll get into Alberta Personalities. Hopefully everything works now, because again, it apparently finished downloading as we were live. Todd says, the people will run the new republic. How are you going to get us all? Exactly. And Todd says, all Albertans will decide on our policies. And again, that is why we really like
Bruce Party's constitution. And I will also say we need a hard-nosed attitude if we want results after this non-binding referendum on October 19th. Our petition has now been verified. We also should be able to get the UCP to put a binding referendum forward and not take any shit from anybody. That means not doing a consultation that is a year-long process, is what they're trying to say now. Absolutely ridiculous. A consultation happens after the vote. The consultation for the First Nations at the same time with the consultation for the federal government.
Rage Against the Machine says, you guys are having troubles today. All guys' fault. Yeah.
Well, she's a little under the weather as well, so I don't know if the tech issues are her or
you. Yvette DeVoe says, lol, you guys. Yes, apologies for that. Hopefully we won't have any more interruptions. Rage Against the Machine says Danny has her own agenda. Might be getting to Ottawa.
Yeah, she has her own agenda, and it has everything to do with getting to Ottawa. And right now, there is a lot of sentiment within National Conservative Party to get rid of Pierre Poilievre. That's not what the people want in Canada, but that is what the National Conservative Party wants behind the scenes. And they want to replace him with a Jason Kenney or a Doug Ford. And I keep saying this every episode, but if they do that, that's going to be completely unacceptable. That's no better than having a Liberal in office for the opposition. Now, if that happens, I think Danielle Smith, that's going to be her opportunity to play the hero and then oust Kenney or Doug Ford and take that position. And I think a lot of what's going on in Alberta right now is her virtue test from the Liberal government. They want to make sure she's willing to play ball as part of the Uniparty.
Yvette DeVoe says, how anybody could vote for a man like Ford is beyond my belief. Beyond a lot of people's beliefs, and this is why we're here
well, and I also think he was a lot more acceptable before. Yesterday, we literally showed the clip where he was MAGA. He was a complete supporter of Donald Trump. He was very well spoken, and he said why the people actually support Trump and why he can't be bought off and other things. But it looks like he's now become that politician he was complaining about in U.S. politics before.
Rage Against the Machine says, enjoy our words while we can. The word police are coming for us all. And now it's legislated.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big issue for Alberta independence, especially the longer and longer this timeline is drawn out for that binding referendum. They've just passed a lot of this legislation. They want to set the precedent in the easiest possible way first before they really turn up the volume. But when they turn up the volume and really start prosecuting people, you have to think Alberta independence is going to be the first target within their sights because it's the only real threat within Canada right now. The second target is going to be people speaking up against mass immigration. Why do we know that? Because in the EU and in the UK, the main targets for the similar legislation was people speaking up against mass immigration. Alberta independence just happens to take precedent over that in Canada because I think they're going to view that as a bigger threat.
Yvette DeVoe says, elbows up strategy isn't even being implemented. Never mind, they hired a man like Mike Myers to do a stupid commercial, and that was just make-believe. Let's get real here.
Yeah, you're wondering how much they paid Mike Myers. I'm really wondering that as well.
And yeah, Todd says Mike Myers is one of the biggest Canadian sellouts of our time, alongside
and a lot of us used to watch him as a kid. Absolutely loved him in Wayne's World.
That was a little bit before my time, but sure. And let me find the other ones. Philip Vespa says, how's that elbows up strategy working for you, Pierre? I will never trust any Liberal or Conservative politician ever again. And I think that's a healthy way to look at politics, honestly.
Well, and this is a healthy way to go into the founding of a new country. We shouldn't be believing in politicians. And because we have a decentralized movement run by the citizens, and citizens aren't scared of the politicians in Alberta. We've ousted Kenny. If need be, we can oust Danielle Smith. And we control the mechanisms through the UCP as well. But we need a complete distrust of government, especially when we get our own independent nation, which is going to be so wealthy within natural resources. It's going to breed corruption. We want to really weed out that corruption before it can get firm roots.
Lukaszuk also says there's a negative correlation between federal and provincial control. If the Conservatives win federally, then they are less likely to win provincially. This is why the Constitution cannot change.
Also, this is why Canada is absolutely cooked. The way Canada is supposed to work is there's supposed to be a lot more power at the local level so the citizens can actually be heard. It's been flipped on its head under Justin Trudeau and now Mark Carney, where everything is being federalized. And I'm not going to be surprised, again, and I say this quite often, a couple times a show now, but if Trump cancels that USMCA, Mark Carney's going to instantly go after that Emergencies Act. That's going to not only consolidate power even more than it already is. I mean, he has the majority government. There's nothing standing in his way if he wants to call the Emergencies Act at any time. I think he only wants the excuse at this point, because then he can really drive home the federalization of not only natural resources, but other industries.
And Harmony, hello Harmony, says, I bought some berries the other day and I noticed they were from Mexico.
Oh, fantastic.
Good to be over there.
But I always say buy local if you can, if it's the same price. Often when I was going to Costco in Canada, though, Mexico was, a lot of produce comes from Mexico up to Canada.
But it's not the same quality or the same taste. And you can vouch for that. Todd
Yeah,
said,
I figure the farther it comes and the farther it has to transport, the earlier they're going to have to pick it. So it's not going to have as much nutrients or flavor within it.
True.
And there's a lot of blueberries. I knew a lot of people that actually ran blueberry farms within British Columbia.
Todd says, if that guy can carry weapons, so can I. And then Rage says, I have swords, axes, throwing knives, etc. My brother's a blacksmith, says Todd. And exactly, I mean, again, rules for some, but not for everybody.
We should go a step further than that, and we should be able to carry firearms. And I'm all for open carry. We need to build a high trust society where we trust our neighbors to have open carry and concealed carry firearms. This can prevent a lot of crime. If criminals know the citizens are armed, it can stop crimes rather than we have to call the police after we're already victims. Very rarely can the police actually stop a crime. Usually they're called after the crime is already committed.
Lukaszuk says, look up Multani v. Commission Scholar Marguerite Bourgeois. That is the court case that first dealt with the kirpan, that knife that guy wanted to carry into a gym. I worry this Sikh guy is going to try to get the Supreme Court to amend it. Oh, I wouldn't put it past him. That seems like it is kind of like now a campaign too.
Well, he's going to want to grab some dollars in the meantime on this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he went right to racism right away, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is about specialty groups and classes, and there needs to be one group, not multiple groups. This is fracturing not just Canada at its absolute foundation, but they're using the same mechanisms to make fractures in societies all over the world. And it's the UN that are bringing in a lot of these laws.
And Harmony says, BS, the best in the world. Really? About Canadian education being the best, and continues, as a former elementary teacher, I absolutely don't agree. And same for me as someone that worked in the high school system in Vancouver, Canada, but also went through your university in Canada. I can also vouch and say, and seeing the education that people in Mexico were getting and my fellow former classmates were getting, I can tell that it was not the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think the education system in the West has just completely fallen off. And I was listening to, God, who was it? I think it would have been the Lotus Eaters talking about how conservatism and history are really interlinked. And that's why liberals have completely taken over history departments in academia and want to rewrite history.
But now let's go into Alberta Personalities, and then we'll continue reading all your comments. Let's see if it works this time.
But they need to understand that Albertans are done. We're leaving, and there's no more conversation to be had. I know that's upsetting to people.
He's laughing at me. It's like a little game. Oh, let's see if it works, if it doesn't work. Okay, let's start with Maxime Bernier saying, what, are we going back to Trudeau's diversity is our strength? It is not. And the kirpan should be just one of those examples.
Yeah, diversity is absolutely not our strength, and we're seeing that now. And there is no diversity of thought. We're talking about diversity of skin color here. We need diversity of thought within academia and all these different fields. And it's just absolutely ridiculous what they actually call diversity in Canada. And I'll say another thing, Maxime Bernier has not changed his platform time and time again. The PPC has kept that same platform. Now, I understand they're not that popular in Alberta, but it would have been nice if they had more popularity in Canada to really be that anchor for conservatives, because the conservatives, if they don't have that anchor, just keep liberalizing themselves. Now, the Liberals do have that anchor. It's called the Communist NDP. That makes sure they stay anchored. And you've seen Mark Carney start to drift a little bit more to the right with natural resources and things like that. And where you've seen a lot of his voter base go, they're all starting to empty out to the NDP. And that's the reason he can't go too far to the right. And that's what keeps the Liberals anchored. There's nothing that keeps the Conservatives anchored, because the PPC just aren't popular enough right now.
But let's see.
We face, in some respects, many similar challenges to the fathers of Confederation 162 years ago, but we have many more advantages. It starts with being more diverse. We face in some.
My God, we have many more advantages right now. And he was saying something similar about these negotiations with the United States. And he goes, we're stronger now than at the beginning of these negotiations. Like, you're just literally saying bold-faced lies. Nobody believes it. I mean, maybe the Liberals believe it because they're absolutely sleeping sheep right now. But diversity is not our strength, and it's not the West's strength either. We're seeing what happens as you bring in low-quality diversity that you're not vetting into the European Union. You're absolutely being conquered right now, and the same will happen to Canada once they open those floodgates again.
But next, Stone Carney, Alberta Proud Dad says Mark Carney wants quote-unquote retaliation against Donald Trump. Translation, more tariffs, higher prices, and Canadians paying the bill. The U.S. economy is 13 times larger. Trump owns his tariffs, but Liberals own the weak economy they created after 11 years of driving investment away. And it continues to go away because we talk about it every single show.
Yeah.
Minister, are you considering retaliatory tariffs, dollar for dollar, on the U.S.?
We have a situation where the American tariffs, the 338 tariffs, will come into effect in 29 days. And we will look at all options in terms of how we would respond if they do come into effect. That's part of what we'll be discussing with premiers.
Retaliation with what? The United States economy is 13 times bigger than ours. And Carney wants Canadians to believe picking another tariff fight is some big show of strength. Retaliation means more tariffs, more expensive products, and Canadian families paying the bill. Maybe instead of pushing investment out of Canada for the last 11 years, the Liberals should have built pipelines, approved projects, and made this country competitive. Trump wasn't elected by Canadians. The Liberals were. Yes, Trump owns his tariffs.
The way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada. Many friends that live in Canada, but their leadership, from Trudeau to the current leadership, in all fairness to them.
Leave it there. And I will say this, Trump is at least trying to protect his citizens. We've seen the inheritance tax taken off. We see Ron DeSantis trying to take property tax, so there will be no property tax in Florida. Canada just creates these monopolies, say they're protecting Canadian industries. They're protecting huge corporations, not family businesses, and they're absolutely taxing citizens out of existence so they can barely afford food after they pay their rent within Canada.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, says, quote, "I guarantee the United States and Canada will eventually unite their economies out of economic necessity, not by giving up sovereignty, but by eliminating tariffs, strengthening trade, and creating a more competitive North American market. I can guarantee Alberta would do that. I don't know if Canada ever will."
Yeah, Alberta would do this on its own, and that's why I want to see an independent Alberta will become a very relevant and ideologically aligned trade partner with the United States. The problem with the rest of Canada is they think they can diversify their economy now, kind of what, going back to the last clip we were showing. It's too late to diversify your economy. This is a 10 to 20 year projects you're going to need to do. You're going to have to go, and then you think you're going to wait out Donald Trump. Well, if J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio get in after Donald Trump, it's going to be more of the same. You're not going to survive Trump and then a J.D. administration. So I don't know what they're thinking in Canada right now, but ultimately, I think the United States strategy is here to, if they don't want to cooperate, to absolutely break them.
Well, they're not thinking. That's the thing.
Well, I have some very good news for Canadians. You should consider your passport a stock certificate for the future, because there is no country with wealth like this one. And here's what's going to happen in the next 20 years. I can practically guarantee this is going to happen. This tiff, this dispute with our largest neighbor to the south, is going to disappear out of economic necessity. We will somehow combine these two economies, not with sovereign designation. Canadians will remain Canadians, Americans will remain Americans. There will be an EU passport you can pursue eventually. We will diminish and resolve and eliminate all tariffs of all commodities across that border to create an economy that can spend 5% of its GDP defending itself against China, because they have a plan. They're going to come over and they want to become the #1 economy on earth. We have to remain that with our version of democracy and freedom of speech and the things that Canadians and Americans believe in and have for hundreds of years. We too, it may not be under Carney.
Okay, and you can leave it there. And it's very interesting when I'm watching a lot of economic analysts now talk about China. A lot of people thought China was going to overtake the United States economically. And within a year and a half, the United States is now pulling away from China, not just because of what they're doing economically, but they're also hitting certain mechanisms against China to really slow down their economy at the same time. So you're now starting to see the United States pull away from China for the first time in a long time.
And let's start the comments with Stephen Jensen. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, saying, sorry I'm late. That's okay. We don't take attendance. Says, I'm always late. I'm Mexican.
And sorry Nat's not on screen today. Yeah. It's just my ugly face.
So sorry I'm late. I was distracted with video work. That happens to me often as well. Says, I now have a top commercial grade professional version of an AI program used for professional music videos and advertising. Lots to learn, but Albertans go big. We don't want to go home.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
And we're also playing your latest video that you sent us. Finally got to watch it. So we'll play it either
tomorrow. We'll play it tomorrow. Yeah. And it was absolutely fantastic. I took a quick look at it yesterday.
I have it up, but.
Oh, you have it up. Okay. We'll play it today then.
Yeah. After Alberta and the World.
Yeah.
Before we head over to RUMBLE. So stay tuned for that one. Everybody, don't leave. And also, but thank you so much. And it's great to hear that you are actually getting more and more into it now.
Yeah, and the video was absolutely fantastic. Your videos are getting better and better every time. You've already hit a very high, I would say, professional quality. But if you're making them for like social media, YouTube, X, I would say keep them around 2 minutes. Otherwise, you need to make it more long format, over 10 minutes. So over 10 minutes, or I would say under 2 minutes, typically maximizes its reach. But the good thing about everything that you're making, it has to do with Alberta independence. So it's going to have a built-in audience, which will give it its fundamental traction within the beginning and hopefully allow a lot of the stuff to blow up, because you're making absolutely fantastic advertisements and songs right now.
Yes. And Rage Against Machine, also thank you so much for the $5 super chat.
Oh, thank you.
And it's a quote that says, Marcus Aurelius, quote, do not waste your strength lamenting your times, govern yourself, and you will have begun to improve the world. Let's effing go, Alberta.
Absolutely fantastic. And I love Marcus Aurelius, I have to say.
Wasn't there a guy somewhere in there? Gaius something? The Greeks? I don't know. I'm not
you know nothing. Women know nothing about.
It's funny because I studied
Greek
philosophy
history.
and politics. But
And what was that? You tried to learn a language or something before?
Yes, I tried to learn Latin. It was the language I chose in university, and then I ended up failing 5 out of 100 because Latin is very difficult. Even if you think just because I know Spanish, it's gonna be easy. It's not.
5 out of 100. Great job.
It's a dead language for a reason.
And now she's my producer.
Oh, shut up. Todd says someone voted for Ford back when he was free from the buyout. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's only got 21%. So God knows. I mean, if it came down to Jason Ford and Kenny, I mean, maybe everybody is watching. If you were forced, gun to your head, to pick either Ford or Kenny, which one would you pick? Because they're both absolutely horrible choices there.
Todd,
but I wonder who would people kind of pick there.
And Todd says, we're on to you, Mark and Doug and Danny. And hold on, where are we?
And Polyoff as well. I mean, they're literally all standing in a big powwow, elbows up, Canada together. Mm-hmm. And it's a big fraud right now. They're really going to bring you down the path of nationalization, which is communism within Canada. And Mark Carney's building the mechanisms. I don't know if he's going to be able to push it over the finish line by the end of his term, but he will set all the mechanisms and lay all the contracts out for the pipelines and everything else. And maybe they have a Poilievre or another conservative come into office, so the other half of Canada cheers it on. It's some kind of national unity. It's not good under Carney, and it won't be good under Pierre Poilievre either.
Oh, and thank you so much for the $2 super chat, Stephen Jensen, and says, I broke 700 subs this morning.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Fantastic.
you are right on the way to monetization there.
Yeah.
Just, Stephen, took us, what, 4 years?
Oh, we're slow growing.
4 years to monetize, so good for you. Believe us, we know how hard it is to get to that, so big congratulations. And if you haven't subscribed to Stephen Jensen, we will play his video at the end, so you can also go subscribe.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, now I lost myself. There we go. And Yasinski says, yes, we go big the right way. Exactly. In many different aspects, the right way. Todd says, go home and go harder. Take him back to where you started. Drum crack. Okay, that's a rap. I think it's a rap lyric. I don't know. Hold on. Oh, no. Rage Against Machine says, I've been using Suno to make songs. Would like to share them. Share them.
Yeah, absolutely share them. And again, Stephen Jensen only started making AI, and he's gotten extremely good over a short period of time. If anybody wants to kind of test out AI and they're wondering what's the cheapest way, I think Grok is. Grok has a free version. Do we have a membership on Grok?
Yes.
We do. So we get maybe a little bit more use out of it than normal people can use.
Rage Against Machine says, Latin is tough. Sing Semper Tyrannis. Yes, again, no idea. Don't remember any of it, and it became a point of annoyance in my life. Don't ever learn Latin. Print of Alberta says, Justin put bail-in laws for the banks when he was leader. Yes, I agree. Mark could use the Emergency Act during a recession and a so-called bank collapse, bail-ins, bailouts, stealing wealth of citizens.
Yeah, the United States right now is actually going after some of the Canadian banks. Specifically, they're going after TD pretty hard. So that's interesting, something to kind of keep an eye on right now. Scott Bessent and Trump are focusing in on TD. So
Harmony says Sweden is a country that does not permit homeschooling or unschooling, and other countries are thinking about it. Yeah, like the UK.
Yeah, a lot of the EU is now. I'm not going to be surprised if that becomes a national policy. This was supposed to be an economic alliance where you kept your sovereignty. What it's becoming is an authoritarian level of government that is stripping sovereignty away from each of its partners within the EU.
Summer Feet says, with an anchor like the NDP, the ship will sink for sure. Exactly. And hold on. Harmony says, as a former elementary teacher, you are not allowed whatsoever diversity of thought. What I mean by love, joy, compassion, understanding, engagement, that is what there are many other qualities. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and something else I was going to say, which was very interesting, Ninchi's suggesting that we tax oil going out of Alberta to the United States, a transport tax or something like that, rather than completely cut it off. And I could see Mark Carney trying to get behind something like that. And even if Danielle Smith isn't with that, that pipeline doesn't go directly from Alberta to the United States. If he simply puts a transport fee on that oil going through Saskatchewan, say, or something like that, this would be absolutely ridiculous. It would really not only grab the attention of the United States, it would really have them push their weight around in the tariff negotiations. I think Trump has been going extremely soft on Canada this far. I know Canadians would disagree with that, but the amount of leverage they have, he's just trying to nudge them in the right direction to do the right thing. And Canada is just resisting with every single elbow they have.
And on that note, let's actually go to Alberta's Canada. Again, if the screen goes dark, it's an error. It's not that we left.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people.
It works. Okay, let's start with this from Dan Dix that says digital ID for trades. Mark Carney's surveillance net closes in. And again, this has always, I think this was always been the initial steps of what is actually planned.
There has been a huge resistance to get digital ID, and rightfully so. We've been resisting it, I would say, since the beginning of this channel. This was one of the major topics we kept talking about. It's a highly censored topic within YouTube. Anytime we made a video on it, we noticed it would be censored. That being said, Mark Carney is aware of this. So what he's trying to do is saying, we're going to bring digital ID on for tradesmen so they can work in all the provinces. And this also seems suspicious to me that he's approving potentially or getting ready to approve these nationalization of pipeline projects, possibly send a lot of mass immigrants to school and then have them work on the pipeline all the way across. I really think Mark Carney, with these natural resource projects, if they ever come to fruition, are going to be built by mass immigrants at an extremely low wage. This is going to create more profit for the federal government ultimately.
Let's watch Standings from Vancouver.
Listen up, my friends. Mark Carney and a pack of provincial labor ministers just dropped the next brick in the digital prison wall. They're now pushing for a digital verification ID, so certified workers can easily prove their qualifications across provincial borders.
In January, we agreed to bring in digital verification for tradespeople by the spring of next year, and those negotiations are underway, and I know we all
And again, I also want to protect workers, not just within Canada, but within each individual province. You open up each province where anybody can go work anywhere. What's going to happen is when mass immigrants come in, they'll send them to school, and then they're going to take all the jobs, all the high-paying jobs that were typically Red Seal jobs at one point. That's number one. Number two, digital ID is the fundamental foundational a layer that they need, that everything else is built upon, all these dystopian digital currencies, social credit scores, and what have you. If we can resist digital ID, that puts not only a monkey wrench in, it collapses everything that is supposed to be built on top of that. If they get digital ID, they will eventually get the rest of it.
Do you want me to keep playing it?
Yeah, keep playing it here.
intend to push them forward. And we're going to discuss some further ambitious ways to cut regulation across our economy.
Yes, you heard that correctly, folks. The New World Order's Big Brother Orwellian nightmare is officially knocking on the door of every Red Seal trade person in the country. The pilot is set for the spring of 2027. First ministers and labor ministers from several provinces have endorsed it. The official line is that it will boost worker mobility, that it'll cut red tape, and it will help the economy. Supporters keep repeating that this won't restrict anybody's rights, but we've heard this exact song before. We know exactly what the endgame agenda is. Your life tracked, your movements traced, your qualifications, your employment history, and your intentions databased. All under the guise of making it easier to work across provinces.
Okay, and you can leave it there on every single level. This absolutely needs to be resisted. He's really trying to soften it by saying, oh, it's so you can go work in every province. But if you really think about what kind of other mechanisms he may build on the side of that, he could completely train Red Seal workers overseas, bring them in completely certified, and then give them the jobs. And then on top of that, we can go into the core issue of digital ID. We need to resist this at all costs unless we want to own nothing and be forced to be happy on the surface when we're crying inside.
Like I force you to be happy.
But I'm crying inside.
Be happy. Ryan Gertison says, quote, for what could have been accomplished over a Zoom call, our governments once again showed us that all they have is more quote-unquote alcohol nonsense as their solution to beating Trump. And this ridiculous MOU they signed will probably end up costing Canadians more in the end. And also, Trump was the one that was able to bring down interprovincial trade barriers, at least with regards to alcohol.
Well, no, and this is what I was kind of saying yesterday. And I was saying I didn't actually read the alcohol MOU, so I don't know what's completely in there. But I said yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if this consolidates all the power into the federal government's hands. A lot of these trade barriers need to be dealt with province to province, not consolidating all the power in the hands of the federal government. And kind of on the second half or near the end here, it sounds like that's exactly what's happening. There's more regulations, and you're going to have to go through the federal government if you want to bring down these trade barriers as actual people distributing the alcohol here.
There is cautious optimism in the air, hopefully seeing the removal of red tape, although not all in the industry are as hopeful.
It's a political hearts and minds win, but it's fixing a problem that really didn't need fixing.
Tyler Dyke is the president of the Craft Distillers Guild of BC. He says whatever is coming down the pipe should be modeled after what he calls the gold standard of direct-to-consumer alcohol sales, already in place between Ontario and British Columbia.
Where they allow direct-to-consumer shipments both ways on that without charging a tariff or what's called markup in the industry.
His prediction is that is not going to be the case. He's looking at a memorandum of understanding already signed by the Ontario and Maritime provinces, enabling direct-to-consumer alcohol sales beginning this March. Dyke predicts that will be the framework moving forward.
It is a markup, counter markup, regulatory, counter regulatory. And so it is a just put up more walls, but now they're going to be robust walls with red tape and a lot of expense in them.
Ultimately costing producers more and therefore the consumer.
What is multiple levels of government without bureaucracy and without red tape?
tape?
As far as how much bureaucracy and red tape will be involved is a wait and see until early next year. Turek says, however, it is rolled out. It is still going to be good for the industry.
Okay, and you can leave it there. And this is the same thing that happened with these frickin' pipelines and these MOUs that Mark Carney is signing and that Danielle Smith's signing. She's signing the economic sovereignty and future away of Albertans to the federal government. And it looks like the federal government is putting themselves at the spoke of this wheel with these alcohol MOUs as well. There's going to be far more regulations. They're going to be able to pick the winners and the losers here. And they're selling this as a win, just like they're selling these pipelines as a win to the non-politically engaged.
And thank you so much also to Steven Jensen for the $2 super chat, saying a simple phone call works for verification too.
Oh, what was that
I
for?
don't know if signature or what other kind of verification. What were we talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's okay.
Okay. If you want to amplify on that, you don't have to super chat Steven Jensen, but let us know what verification for alcohol sales, maybe? Who knows?
I don't know.
But
okay,
thank you
let's
so
keep
much.
going here.
Yes. Juno News says, quote, Toronto Sun columnist Brian Lilly joins Mark Patron to break down the growing divide between Mark Carney and Doug Ford's responses to the latest U.S. tariff threat. The same one by now?
All right, it appears to me that you've got two different approaches here, that Carney and Ford are not on the same page. Now, you suggest that there may be more to that, but we've got Carney saying, you know, no retaliatory measures right now as far as the 50% tariffs coming the other way, but we'll see what happens in the future. And we've got Ford taking a more belligerent tone, saying, no, we got to go dollar for dollar. What's going on here?
So a couple of things. These tariffs don't take effect until August 19th. And if you listen to what U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer's been saying on American business television this morning, because while this story dominates the headlines everywhere in Canada, Mark, nobody in the U.S. is paying attention, except like CNBC and Fox Business. They're talking about it because it's a business story. The rest of the Americans, they probably don't know that anything happened related to Canada yesterday. And meanwhile, every Canadian knows exactly what's going on.
Pause it really quick here. And when he's saying nobody knows what's happening in Canada and the United States and nobody cares, and this is part of Trump's big strategy. This is why he's always kind of talking off the cuff, saying, I'm going to tariff them. He will eventually put tariffs in and things like this, but the stock market doesn't necessarily go shifting up and down on every little thing that's happening in Canada and Mexico and other countries. So it's very interesting. It gives Donald Trump a lot of leeway when he wants to do things. And if he does want the stock market to shift, he just talks about it a lot more, and eventually they will take notice.
Should I keep playing it?
Yeah.
Mark Carney saying no retaliation right now. He was asked, you know, should the provinces remove their booze ban? He said, well, that's a provincial decision. Doug Ford and David Eby out in British Columbia are saying absolutely not. The American booze is not going back on the shelf. You're right, Ford is sounding more belligerent, although he did say he wants us to get to the negotiating table and try and strike a deal in the next 30 days. But if not, then he wants it to be matching, tariff for tariff, dollar for dollar.
Okay, and you can leave it there. And now all of a sudden it's like, I'm hearing all these politicians saying, well, we have 30 days. We need to strike a deal in the next 30 days. It's been well over a year and you just stopped showing up to the table. Mexico was calling you out. The United States was calling you out. And Canada just wasn't showing up. And now all of a sudden you want to strike a deal within 30 days. Mexico is already a year down the negotiated line. It's going to take more than 30 days at this point, unless you just want a worse deal than Mexico is going to get. And you're going to have to start off from a severe disadvantage at the negotiating table. There's something else I wanted to say here, and it's a story I didn't have a chance to bring up. We'll bring it up tomorrow, but it was the opening of the bridge that Mark Carney absolutely shit the bed on and made a horrible deal with. But Pete Hosek was supposed to be at that bridge opening. I was watching an interview with him and he was said, oh, I'm excited. I'm going to be at the bridge opening. And he's a great guy and he's a great, oh God, what's his position again?
Hoekstra? Or?
Yeah, Pete Hoekstra.
I don't know.
Nat can't remember. What I was going to say is I really wanted to see him there, and I thought it would be good for the United States and Canada. They completely uninvited the U.S. to that, and they had a drum beating ceremony, and it was let's make land acknowledgements and everything else. It was completely disappointing, and if you're going to uninvite the United States to bridge openings and other things, this is not taking a step in the right direction.
Oh, and back to the comments. And Steven Jensen said a simple phone call works for verification too on the super chat. And now I understood what he meant for the digital IDs thing.
Oh, yeah.
For easy verification of credentials for work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we
don't
already
need a
have.
digital ID.
And this is
There's
Canada.
already a system in place.
Well, Canada just loves to make the same system on top of the same system to give more control to the federal government. This happens with laws all the time. There's already laws on the book to prosecute people for things, yet you want to make more laws that focus in on specialty groups and classes rather than just treat everybody the same with the laws that are already on the books. You can't even enforce the laws that are on the books. So why are we letting you make more laws at this point?
And Todd says, yeah, he's starting with us tradesmen, apparently, law like Alberta PIN. I'd rather give up my red steel heavy equipment tech.
Yeah, and I really think it's not just a play for a digital ID. I really think it's going to start bringing in mass immigrants, have them either pre-trained or trained once they get into the country. So all these natural resource projects that he may be approving in the federalization of natural resources will go to mass immigrants at a lower wage.
Mm-hmm. And next, Nick Hello says politicians have been obstructing free trade for 45 years, and that's why all of this is still going on. 50% of our economy is that government obstructing it.
Absolutely, and Canada's been going at this hard. This is how they built these monopolies, whether it's the dairy monopoly or otherwise, the cell phone monopolies as well. You have some of the highest prices in Canada because you don't have a free market in Canada.
And Nick Land also says Mr. Trump is using the leverage that he has got our politicians have to defend. Hold on. Mr. Trump is using the leverage that he has got our politicians have to defend their position, which is not free trade.
Yeah, Canada's real lucky right now. They're basically getting a pass as long as they don't stir the pot too much and they don't wake up the United States by like cutting off oil or natural gas or something like that. That would wake up Trump. But Trump is completely focused in right now to try to turn the UK. There is a battle going on there right now. The UK is in the middle of a tug of war between the EU and Trump.
And Nick Land also says the government are the number one employer in the nation. They do not want free trade. Behind governments, you have the banks who have made record profits every quarter for the last 45 years. They don't want free trade either. They love it when we're fighting over the farmers.
Exactly.
But now let's actually go into Alberta and the world. And again, if the screen goes dark, it's not that we left, it's that it's messing up. Okay, and let's start with this from
good old Mel Gibson here. And
and Mel Gibson.
And I absolutely love that he's speaking up on politics now.
Yes, Russell Brand says Mel Gibson was right about this.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelinos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon.
I'm watching Braveheart at the moment, so I'm really predisposed towards Mel Gibson and his opinions.
It's a good voice. I mean, I was thinking about the Patriot just now. Like, I wanted him to run back into his house, grab his hatchet from underneath his bed, a couple of guns. What a legend.
He's
okay, you can leave it there. And absolutely fantastic to hear him speaking up on issues that are really affecting a lot of Californians. I used to live in California, born in Canada, raised in Canada, but lived a large portion of my life in California as well. And it is if not the most corrupt state, it has to be up there in top 3. New York has to be close to the top as well. Gavin Newsom, it would be a horrible mistake for Americans to elect him as a president. And I know he's one of the top candidates right now. I think it's going to be him or Bernie Sanders running. Or I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up putting their differences aside because they come from different sectors of the Democratic Party that don't like each other and actually form a ticket together, because the conservatives right now have a strong ticket with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. And again, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio come from different sectors of the conservative party. So it's very interesting.
And lovely, the psychopath and or the crypt keeper. Great. Jasmine Lane says, Trump is jealous of Mark Carney, former governor of Michigan, of course, and U.S. ambassador to Canada, makes several claims on Canadian media.
Yeah, and again,
Delusional.
just more Trump derangement syndrome after Trump derangement syndrome here.
This one's coming from inside the House.
Donald Trump thinks the world kind of began when he was born. This is a man who's not only jealous of Mark Carney, or he's jealous of John Kennedy. I mean, he actually had the Kennedy name supplemented with his name in the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. We're not dealing with a normal politician, normal elected official. Look, all of us who run for office have a big...
And this is where Mark Carney is getting his strategy. They're talking to Democrats and globalists and these people that want to control the world, telling him, just wait Trump out. We're going to be in office in a couple of years. We're going to win the midterms. Trump is going to be defanged. He's listening to these people, and it's going to put the Canadian citizens in an absolute world of hurt.
ego. I admit it. I enjoyed it. But in return, you have to do something for the people, for the country, for your state. And these things are all destructive measures, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I applaud Canada's patience. You don't deserve this. But think how we feel. This guy's our president. He's going to be president for 2 more years. I think the Democrats will have a big victory in November, by the way, so there'll be some guardrails. And I would say that the Congress, bipartisan, passed a resolution, bipartisan, opposing the tariffs on Canada.
Yeah, and I'm very realistic when I look at politics. I know a lot about American politics. I watch a lot of global politics as well. And there's a good chance that the Democrats actually do win the midterms because the strategy of this DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, will work in little specialty districts. But when that strategy works in the midterm, if it works in the midterm, they're going to take that strategy into the 2028 election. And it does not work for a presidential election because it absolutely turns moderates off. It can work in specialty districts. So it's going to be very interesting what happens there. I fully expect a J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio in 2028. I do not know what's going to happen in the midterms. It's going to be a drag out fight for the midterms, but the Republicans have a lot of money right now.
And lastly, Marinufo says, quote, Trump unloaded on the European Union after they hit Google with another $1 billion fine. He listed the pile of penalties on Apple, Meta, Amazon, and others, called it discriminatory robbery of American companies, and said the U.S. is done being Europe's piggy bank. He launched a 301 investigation and floating big tariffs in response.
Absolutely, and Trump needs to stand up hard on this. I've been following this right from the beginning. Under Biden, they were going to cede control of these American social media companies and make sure they didn't have free speech or they wouldn't implement it through regulations in other countries, international regulations. Trump has been standing up against this very hard. He's created legislation like the Granite Act to allow people and the government to push back against this. He really needs to see this through. There's a lot on his plate right now, but if we want to protect free speech, we need to protect American social media companies from international regulations. And this isn't just the EU. This is Canada, the UK, Australia, the EU. Brazil. They're all doing this at the same time because they want to regulate speech. They do not want free speech. And thank God for Donald Trump right now because he is pushing back. And a lot of these social media companies actually have breathing room right now. And this is why we need to follow Trump up with the J.D. Vance. Because if somebody like a Gavin Newsom gets in there, that could be the end of free speech.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, you can read it. It's the last story, and then we'll go into comments, and then we'll go to
Stephen Jensen. We'll watch Stephen Jensen.
Oh yeah, we'll watch Stephen Jensen.
Donald Trump says the European Union is at it again, and as usual, taking direct aim at great American companies. After having fined Apple for no reason at all, $15 billion, Meta $3 billion, Amazon $2.5 billion, and many others, we have just been informed that Google, a truly advanced and amazing group, has been fined yet another $1 billion without explanation.
And pause it for a second here. And they're having these billion-dollar fines, tens of billions of dollars on an annual basis. They're doing this. This is some kind of revenue stream they're trying to bring in. And they make more fining American social media companies than they do off their own social media.
Continues. This brings the Google total to over $18 billion. This illegal and highly discriminatory practice started at these high levels during the first year of the sleepy Joe Biden administration, but it's not going to continue during the Trump administration. The United States of America is not a quote-unquote piggy bank for Europe, nor will we allow it to be. Please let this truth serve to represent that we will immediately initiate a 301 investigation into the practice of robbing American companies and, in turn, the American taxpayer. The European Union will pay a very big price for this illegal and highly unethical conduct, which I have consistently warned them about. The penalties will be entirely reversed, and we anticipate a substantial tariff to be placed on them at the earliest possible moment. Stay tuned, President Donald J.
And this is how you protect not only American social media companies, but American companies in general. Good on Donald Trump for doing this. And he's been doing it for right from the beginning. And the Granite Act was a good thing that he put in place there.
Mm-hmm. And now should we watch Stephen Jensen's
Yeah, let's watch Stephen Jensen's latest AI video here.
This is the latest one I found. But if you want to go follow Stephen Jensen, please do so. Help him get past the 709. Get him to 750.
Let's try to get him to 1,000 here.
Yes.
So
I mean, in general, yes. But it's Alberta Freedom First. That's his channel. But let's watch a little bit. Stephen, please don't copyright us. Copyright claim us.
And
please.
play this at normal speed.
Yes,
otherwise,
okay. That's why I said please don't copyright claim us.
From Ottawa's ashes, Alberta's rising fire! From the prairies wide in the northern light, a quiet fire started burning bright. Ordinary hands, ordinary hearts, writing a brand new start.
Mitch walked the cold with petitions in hand, 300,000 strong across this land. Canvassers knocking through the snow and rain, ordinary people breaking every chain. John kept the calendar, the stream, the call. Women gathered round tables, dessert and all. Corey signs rose on every highway mile. Angela and Kathy turning doubt to smile.
We the people rose when the system said no. When government stepped back, watch ordinary grow. From Ottawa's ashes, Alberta's rising fire.
Okay, and you can leave it there. And I highly recommend going to Stephen Jensen's channel. That's not the only AI video he made. He made quite a bit, and they're all focused on Alberta independence. Let's get his subscriber rate up if we can.
Yes, and thank you, Stephen Jensen, for also always sharing them with us and letting us know that there's new ones coming up. Even if we reply a bit later, we do always watch them and end up watching them on the show too. And again, I do want to encourage others like Rage Against the Machine. If you have ideas or stuff you want to do, always go with it. Okay, let's go to the comments. Now I'm lost again.
We're going to get into comments, and then we're going to go over to RUMBLE, where we usually end the show if we have topics that are too hot for YouTube there.
Yes, Rage Against the Machine says, I love Mel. I want him to direct my book movie.
Oh, absolutely. And I forgot, actually. Elon Musk was talking about making a version of the Odyssey with AI, or he said he would put up $100 million for Mel Gibson to make his own version of the Odyssey, which would be a fantastic idea. I would much rather see the Mel Gibson version than an AI version.
And Rage Against the Machine says, I just want to get books published and sell some books. I have a script ready. Oh, great. And says, I'm getting a local publisher. I hope Wicked Inc. That's great.
Oh, fantastic. And again, I think it's very easy to get things published on Amazon now.
He said it's too pricey.
Oh,
So
it
he's
is.
getting a local
Oh,
publisher, which
okay.
I like the idea of more of a local publisher, actually.
Yeah.
Todd says, always read Donald's posts. And Rage Against the Machine
Well,
says,
and there is something interesting happening with Donald Trump, and it's causing a lot of controversy, and that he's going to sell memberships to Truth Social for $100,000 a pop. Basically, you have advanced notifications for people like Donald Trump and other big influencers. Basically, people think a lot of their posts can manipulate the stock market. So it's going to be interesting how many people actually buy memberships at $100,000 there. It's also going to be very interesting if there's not some kind of GoFundMe where a group buys a membership, and then as soon as he releases something, they release that to the general public.
Rage Against the Machine says, good, Trump is taking a free speech stand, and has been for the longest time as well. People kind of brush over that, but it has been important, and also alongside with Elon Musk being able to buy and maintain and restore X.
Under Biden, this had happened. They sent they put in the international mechanisms for other countries and international bodies to kind of legislate free speech out of existence within the United States and really get a lot of censorship in there. Trump came in there and really set everything straight. These companies now have breathing room and have brought free speech back. Free speech benefits their business model overall, but not if they don't have a president willing to back them up, protect American companies, and protect free speech on a global basis, not just a United States basis.
And Print of Alberta says, yes, I've been watching Dan for 12 years. I don't know if 12 years, but I've been watching Dan Diggs for a long time. And I was lucky enough to get to meet him in Vancouver as well. I popped up in one of his streams while he was streaming a protest, and I was also filming there. Says, Nat and Guy, I agree with you. Digital ID has been their most important goal for total control. This is engineered essentials for life. It's difficult.
Yeah, and again, I don't mean to keep harping on the issue, but digital ID, if we can stop them at digital ID, none of the other things are possible, or even if the other things are possible, they're not possible to implement controls, meaning you can have digital currency and things like that, but if there's no digital ID connected to it, they don't have the control mechanisms they need. The entire war that would happen with digital ID. If you can stop that, it stops all the other controls from happening.
Nick Land says, pretty hard to beat Ottawa and our provinces for corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nick Land says, elbows up can blind, deaf and dumb and stupid, but they sure do suck up at liberal propaganda. Elbows up, they should be pleased that Prime Minister chose duty instead of free trade. And Nick Land also says, I think it's Washington. We should be thanking them for, I think it should be Washington. We should be thanking them for their patience. 45 years, we have obstructed the free trade agreement we agreed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people are waking up this. I've been watching the Elevate podcast now, although he doesn't openly support Alberta independence. He hasn't really taken a stance on it. I will say he's at least woken up to Canada is the one really putting up a lot of these trade barriers and other things. And he's also calling out China on a regular basis. So I do appreciate that.
And Nick Glenn also says, yep, the Crown doesn't believe in free speech, and the King definitely does not believe in democracy. That's why all these problems are in the Commonwealth everywhere, and because of the system that we all share.
Absolutely. And I will say, anybody that watches Prometheus Action Group, and I recommend them a lot, they're talking about the war that's going on within the UK right now. Trump and the EU are really battling for control of what system they're going to adopt. I had kind of written them off, but there are a lot of indications that Trump may be able to pull them back into the fold of freedom.
Todd says, Stephen Jensen is a man I know firsthand. And we know virtually, but also believe that so. Todd says, Alberta freedom first, let's go. And hold on. Stephen Jensen says, thanks, guys, should be better with new program. It's getting better and better each time.
It's fantastic already, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And Marcel84 says, why is the president selling memberships? How low can he sink? Yeah, I don't love that idea either.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of that idea. But then again, what I would like to see is somebody to buy a membership and then just instantly release any messages that are given out.
I mean, that's what always ends up happening anyway. Yeah. So, and Todd says, because he started Truth Social and he can do what he wants. Free country, remember, you don't like it, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy over it. Everybody knows I'm a big Trump supporter, and we're going to start having a Wednesday show to hopefully get the Republicans or do our part to get them over the finish line when it comes to the midterms, and hopefully get a candidate like J.D. Vance in, because that dramatically strengthens Alberta independence position. That being said, there's a lot of talk about how this is insider trading. So,
true. Sean says, I want to be a member. Hello, Sean, by the way. Thank you for being here. But you're getting here just as we're heading over to RUMBLE to finish the rest of the stories, which are a little bit too spicy for YouTube. You do the outro because you're on camera. So it's not just
if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Every subscriber really does help. I've noticed we've been getting throttled a lot lately. That being said, follow us over to RUMBLE. We're going to head over there now.
Yes, and again, if it's a dark screen, it's there's been issues we've been having today. But follow us to RUMBLE. And before you do, don't forget to subscribe.
Let's get ready to rumble!
we're back. Almost didn't make it.
Well, I should say, well, we're back.
Oh, right.
I'm on camera. You're not on camera today.
Oh,
and
hold
that
on. I messed up.
And that will be back
I did
tomorrow.
not end the stream on YouTube.
Oh, you didn't?
No, now I did. There we go.
Was I on camera the whole time?
No.